up? Not for today?
No.
Class, outside class?
No.
Why not?
Because it's a group activity. So, okay, we're going to get started in class. So it's Wednesday. We're going to be looking at Unit 14 today. The discussion this week is to do this red-green refactor POGL activity where we'll break you into teams and have you work on this. You can do it in teams of 2 or 3 for this. So we'll set teams up soon and work through that. And then you want to post the results of your work to the discussion area to share it with others, and so I can see it there too. If you get that done today, you can look and start working on the final project. The first 2 steps of the final projects are due on Sunday. So we have the design document here describing what you're going to do for your project, and then the prototype, just some initial coding of this project for this stuff. And so those are both due on Sunday night. We'll spend class on Friday will be devoted on just working on the final project. The goal on Friday will be to get you started, have you work on the design document, make sure you have a project that's doable here, and I can give you some feedback on it. Online students, feel free to just email me or text me ideas or an initial draft of the design document, get some feedback on it. If you want to do that before you do the prototype, you certainly can. Just send it to me for that. And in class, I'll walk around, I'll just talk to each of you about your project and make sure we're on track. It's not uncommon for students to reach too far. I mean, there's limited stuff we can do here. And so we want to keep this project attainable within the scopes of the class. What? We use that mapping complex. Like, what do you mean by that? Well, we talked about, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I mean, there's something called maps and I'm not sure if that's what yeah, key value pairs sort of stuff. Yeah, we can talk about that. Or I would like to try to keep you in data structures we've had, but arrays and array lists. But again, if you're interested in learning something like maps, I would allow that as long as you talk to me ahead of time and we see that. So because those aren't that different. They're in the same area as an array. The index in them just isn't just an index number, but you just specify your key and it'll give you the value in return. So, okay. So today we're going to continue talking about unit testing, and we're going to do this red-green refactor POGL activity here. Going to break you up into teams of 2 or 3. We need a code editor and at least 1 tester for this stuff. And so we'll assign that here. So you'll open up the POGL activity and do that. So why don't we do some teams here? Let's see, why don't we do let's do the far side of the room, those 3, and then the near side of the room, these 2 there. And maybe if Sydney comes, we'll loop Sydney into, or whoever comes could join you too. Okay, so we'll do that. So we'll do, yeah. So yeah, we'll do Caleb and Sophie, and then we'll do Kyle, Tino, and Ryder here for this. What you'll want to do is open up this document and share it with each other. So you can work on a shared copy of this, put in your names in here, there. Then you want to grab this code from this, run this code in NetBeans. And this is a copy of one of the projects that we have. Let me see. Oops. Wait for this to get set up here. Yeah, but there are some errors in this code, and there are some unit tests in this code. And your job is to use the unit tests and some of the testing stuff and try to figure out the errors. This is a common process in computing. The idea is that you write some code and there'll be some unit tests, and your code will fail some of the unit tests. And so if you remember, when we run unit tests, they show up as red or green. So initially they show up red. So red would be some of the tests will fail. And then you'll correct the code and they'll change green. And then once you have it green, you can clean up some things, organize your code different, so and what we call refactor it. But then you want to do that so that everything stays green. You won't break anything while you're doing that. So here's our random dice one here. And again, you can just run this here, and you will run it and try out different things, how many dice you want, how many sides of dice. So I can write 4 6-sided dice, it'll do that. But then you can also run the testing stuff here. And I think, I'm trying to remember while we brought up the Windows. I think if you go to Windows, IDE tools, test results, that'll bring up the test results page if you don't see it already. And I'm going to run the test project. That's what I want to run. So, and again, some of these tests will be red for that. So yeah, so why don't you get into your groups or, share this document, make sure you know everyone's contact or email so you can share this and do that. Okay, I'm going to pause this. Online students, I'll be assigning, or students aren't here, I'll be assigning you to groups. And whoever's first in the group can share the document with the others. Okay, I'm going to talk just for a little bit, but I'm going to talk mainly to the online students about this process. So you can ignore me for just a sec. Okay, so we have the teams here. We have some students who are in class right now, and they're working on this rather loudly. I've assigned the asynchronous students to teams. There is a little mix between the a couple of the in-class to get this stuff right. Set this up quickly. That 2 of the teams only have 2 people. You are free to just skip tester B ones for this stuff. And again, what you should do, whoever, especially online people, whoever's first, open this up, open up the document, and then just share it with your other team members. You might want to just email them and let them know also that and maybe email them a link to the document so they can see it there for this. And then you're given a role here. Your job is to go through and do that. There's a fair amount of stuff where any student can do it. And so if you're new doing this, I would do one of those. So like here, we want to run the program and then with some inputs and rerun the program with some other inputs. If you're just getting started, and you can just do one of these and wait for one of your team members to do one of these here for this. Then you're going to go through and look at these tests and see why they fail. So if I look at this, like this is the first test, I want to look at that test some more, click on it. And I think if I click here, Oh, if I expand it here, that'll say some, a little bit more about what it was, what was expected and what was the actual result, for that test. So like tester A would look at that test, tester B would look at this test. If you don't have a tester B, you can skip this whole section here. If there are other tests failing, you can do this. The code editor can make these changes. If you're tester A and you want to make those changes and you're not sitting with the code editor, feel free just to do that right here and see if you can figure out what the error is. But you can certainly suggest some bug fixes and let the code editor then see if they want it for this. And again, do these changes also when we refactor. So at some point idea is that there'll be some failing tests. You will fix those so everything will be green, and then you'll refactor. We'll switch a lot of these to for each loops, and hopefully everything will stay green in the for each loop once we get that. Okay. Okay, let me know if you have any issues with this. And remember, once you're done with this, share it with the other people, and everyone has to post this to the discussion area for things. So there's discussion post a link to your document to the discussion area. Each student should post a link to their document to the discussion area. So I know that that student has access to that and has been working on it. So, okay.